Hello everyone and welcome, this is Common and Cam. Today I'm going to be talking about Voltron Legendary Defender, the final season. It's here, the end, and oh my god, this season was insane, truly emotional. This series has just been absolutely amazing to watch. It's only been like 3 years, so we've had like 8 seasons. There's a lot in this season to talk about. I'm not going to go into spoilers just yet. I'm going to give you a brief non-spoiler for fans who haven't watched all of it yet. I know it's just come out, so I'm probably one of the first to be reviewing it. But I just had to binge through all of this. You know, it was just, each episode was just like, okay, no, I can't just take a break. I need to watch the next one. That's the unfortunate habit of just binging through all these shows, but it was well worth it. 13 episodes of an absolute blast. Emotion, I got really teared up, especially towards the end, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, this season just did so much right. There are a few things where I was like, oh, I was hoping they could go into that, but with it being the final season and so much to kind of tie up loose ends, there were some things that were kind of sacrificed a little bit to focus more on different plot points that arguably, yes, are more important, and it's unfortunate still. I'd say this season was very satisfying. Like, it didn't end in a way where I thought, oh, is it going to set itself up for a potential spin-off? And it has the possibility to do that in the future. It ends just perfectly. It's truly epic. Like, this season is just epic. You know, this is one of the best Netflix originals, you know, on the platform. It just is. You know, it truly does shine, especially in this season. Like, it actually pays off. Like, everything that we've been working towards this entire season, the entire journey with these characters, these character arcs, it all pays off in this season. The ending really did kind of like blow my mind. Like, oh, okay, everything's falling, because it gets towards the end of the season where it's like, oh my god, we've only got like 1 episode left and we're already, you know, it's getting really intense. So how are we going to wrap this up quickly and make it feel satisfying? You know, I am going to definitely binge through this season again and again. There's probably a few things I've missed, but as I've been watching the episodes, I have jotted down a few notes on specific things I want to talk about within the episodes. So there's a lot to talk about, but just as a non-spoiler, just to really start off before I go into spoilers, yeah, like all the paladins, their character arcs get paid off. There are episodes in this where they were just masterpieces. I want to say episode 9 and 10 are by far the best episodes of this season. It just truly is fantastic, and it gets really good towards the final episode. Like, the final episode is a great episode, but it was 9 and 10 in particular where I was just like, this is absolutely epic. Yeah, really good job to the crew, the writers, everyone else working on this show. It's absolutely fantastic job to everyone. The crew of Voltron really did a fantastic job of really bringing this masterpiece to an end. Alright, so let's go on to spoilers now. I'm going to be talking about the episodes individually, about certain things I liked in the episode and what I didn't like. This will be about 2 minutes at least on every episode. Some I'll probably go into more detail in, but just to kind of give you a good summary, the first episode starts straight on Earth as we last left the crew and everything, and there's a lot of good callbacks in this episode. They actually show you the 80s Voltron. Pidge is watching it on television, so in this universe they've made a cartoon of them guys, and it's really funny, and it's just them really poking fun, but just embracing the classic Voltron, like Pidge. Pidge actually has the look of the original Voltron. Like, as soon as she sees the cartoon, there's a part where they're in the market, they're shopping, and she just completely goes full Pidge mode back in the 80s, and it's absolutely fantastic. What a great callback. But yeah, one major thing, one thing that they've developed and actually publicly put out there, like, yeah, okay, this is going to happen in this season. Lance and Allura going on a date. That's why they are in the shopping market with Pidge and everything like that. They take Allura to go find a particular dress because Lance has invited her over for his family dinner, and it's just really great seeing them to interact with each other. I liked the forest scene. We saw that in the trailer, and basically they come across this tree and she like brings back life to it, and it's the first time they kiss, so I can imagine a lot of Voltron fans out there are just going to be squealing because it was just a really good moment. Like, finally Lance is getting what he wanted and she's getting what she wanted. You know, it's like them finally together, acknowledging it. So it's good, and they develop their relationship over the course of a few episodes, continuing on with that. So they do become a relationship in this season, which is all well and good. I really think their chemistry hasn't really changed from before, but you can definitely tell, like, yeah, this is a good match. Yeah, this isn't just like oh, we get together and then it turns out like a Ross and Rachel. Oh, yeah, okay, they're gonna have an argument. It's like, no, there's none of that in this season. Thankfully, they know they love each other, and they're just working at it throughout the season, and it just really does pay off. But yeah, no, really great episode, the first one. I really did enjoy it. And then the episode starts moving when we start launching off to space. But episode 2, which I'm very glad it did this, we don't see any of the Paladins. It doesn't continue that journey. It actually reverts you back to Haggard, Honerva. It goes through her origins with Zarkon and Lotor, the growing up, and how she actually managed to get to the colony planet, the sister colony, and get the Orteans and everything like that. How did she actually do that? From the last time we saw her, with Lotor, when he attacked her and everything, what actually happened with her. And Haggard is by far one of my favourite, Haggard Honerva, by far one of my favourite villains of this entire series. At first I wasn't really sure about her being the final villain for the series. I kind of guessed it when Zarkon died, that it was always leading up to her. Lotor would be the next one, as he was in the previous season, and it's got to be Haggard. Like, what is Haggard? We still yet to really know the Haggard Honerva story, and I feel like I'm very happy that they actually went ahead and made this the final sort of fight. Like, this is it. This is their biggest rival. This is why Zarkon and Lotor fell. She's like that chemistry. She's like the smartest one. That's why she's survived so long, is that she's smart. Unlike Zarkon and Lotor, who go batshit crazy. Pardon the swearing, but they charge straight into battle. They don't think really much of it. Lotor was kind of clever, more clever than Zarkon. That's why Zarkon died first. But it's like a level a little bit. Zarkon, Lotor, and Honerva. Like, she is intelligent. She's going to get at them in any way she can, and she's very smart, very good manipulator, as she always has been. So yeah, I'm really glad that they went with her as the main villain of the series in this season, because it's like, it was all leading up to her really, and her origins in this episode. It was so fascinating to watch. It was so fascinating to see the flashback scenes and everything like that. So I really do dig her as a villain. But getting on to her in a little bit. Episode 3 kind of takes a little course direction. We actually this is an episode where we get a callback to the previous season, where they wrap up a few loose ends. So they go back from characters before. We get to see Warlock Ivan from the Omega Shield episode, and he's actually commanding his own sort of thing. And he actually joins them because they discover this this energy, this weird energy on another Golra ship. And we get to see the beast from when Koalia and Keith set that beast loose on Warlord Ranvik when they try to escape that episode. So we get to see a lot of callbacks to what actually happened to that beast, and that beast destroyed pretty much all of the Golra ship, and because that thing is programmed to destroy Golra. So it's really good, and there's a lot of consequences to Keith's actions as well. Like, he's the reason why, because Warlock Ivan gets really upset that you basically just want to do things for your own bit and whatever, and there's a lot of payoff to that. There's a lot of payoff, and Ivan gets redemption as well. Like, he makes up for his wrongdoings, and he starts to join the Colorwish and everything like that. But episode 4 completely, like, this is where I feel like it didn't do wrong, but it was just kind of like, I was a bit of a disbelief, like, oh my god, I can't believe he actually went ahead and did that. And they basically destroy Alcarion, at least the mecha, the big robots that Haggard is employed to go out and destroy all these things. But we get to find out with those Alteans in those suits that Haggard has completely corrupted them, and they blame Allura, Voltron, everything like that for destroying Lotor. This entire season is about Honerva trying to find Lotor. She needs that vessel back, which I'll get into a bit later on why she exactly needs that vessel. But anyway, one of those suits that we saw in the previous season completely destroys Alcarion, which is just like, wow, really? This is like one of the major planets we got introduced to in the beginning of Voltron, and it was really just a great world, especially for Pidge. There was a lot of development with Pidge on that planet, getting to understand nature and all the science behind the planet and everything like that. Some of them survived, obviously, but most of them were attacked and destroyed, and she actually gets to revisit the memories Pidge does, because she has a connection with that planet. She gets to see exactly how it fell to that to one of those mech suits. But episode 5 gets extremely interesting. So we get to find out what happened to Zephyrid and Ezor. Basically, the Paladins, Voltron, they end up getting trapped by Zephyrid, while the Lions get trapped, and they have to escape their pods. That's in the trailer what they're escaping from. Like, they are attacking them with heavy fire, and they actually have to abandon their suits to try and get the upper hand because they can smell their scent on them. And leading to the episode along, we get to see who these masked people are, and I knew straight away it was Zephyrid. I had a feeling it might have been her. And I'm really glad it is. I actually like her in this season a lot more than previous seasons. She ends up finding Keith, and Keith and her have a little fight, and well, Keith's just, he's not going to beat her. She's an absolute brute. Like, she's got him by the throat, and the Paladins managed to surround him just in time, and she's willing to just die, but thankfully I think it was Veronica who shot a fire at her, and she was about to fall into the pit, but thankfully Keith saved her just in time for sort of a redemption. They lock her up, but you know, she's starting to warm up to him. And it turns out that Ezra actually got sick of her constant rage and brute, and this is where Arksha, in sort of an episode as well where Arksha gets to really shine. Now that's one of the disappointing things about this season in my opinion, is Arksha. She doesn't get enough screen time as I would hope, especially development with her and Keith, which the series was setting up at the very end and throughout most of the show really, where we had that kind of chemistry. Unfortunately, Arksha and Keith don't really have a scene together at all. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. That was one of the most unfortunate things for me, because I really liked them too, and I know where the series was kind of going with them, and then they just nope, nothing happened, which is unfortunate. But this is the only episode really where Arksha gets screen time. Like, thinking about it, like, this is the only time where she has something to do in this episode, and she's basically trying to save Zephyr in that, because there's some development before with Veronica and her, and she's trying to kind of get to know Arksha a little bit, and it's kind of awkward at first with the dinner table, because you know, with the other crew members of the Atlas, and that was one of the most disappointing things. I liked the beginning part of Arksha's story in this episode, but it was just unfortunate she didn't get a lot to do. Thankfully though, Ezra and Zephyr, they start making it up with each other, you know, and she starts kind of burying that anger, so that's well and good there. Now episode 6 is kind of like the mid-season finale. This is the episode that kind of leads up to the first fight between Honerva, until it kind of takes a break a little bit, and then it goes into the taking a break from the battle and everything. So Honerva is basically tearing apart the timelines. She's doing all she can to get Lotor, the vessel, the suit and everything like that, and she manages to get it. But the thing is, something's not quite right with Lotor, and one of the Alteans that serve Honerva kind of pick up on it. There's stuff to that later, but one thing I just really like in this series, in any show really, I like it when villains from before get sort of a redemption arc, and then they start joining the winning side, they start being good guys, and I just love that payoff. Like, I love it when characters do that. They turned out bad, then they have this redemption arc, and then they start helping the good side, and then they become a team. This is exactly what happens with Ezra and Zephyr in this episode, and I just loved it when Shiro finally trusted them to help him, you know, with the entire fight scene that's going off at the time. And it just extremely paid off, and they're going to need it, because Honerva just kills the White Guardian. And as that plot sort of ends there and she goes off, we get episode 7, and it starts out with the character that I wanted to see the most, which is good. We have Ryan Kincaid recording, documenting the entire adventures on the ship. Now the reason why he does this is to kind of like assess himself and assess others and everything like that, because he's not a big talker. And the reason why is because he'd rather assess his situation than actually deal with conversation. So it's kind of really good that they filled in that void of a character arc, like, oh, because when we first saw Kincaid, he was the least favourite one for me, because he didn't talk, he didn't really have much of a personality. And I don't know if that was planned from the start, obviously, because we discovered in this episode where, yeah, he's actually kind of a big talker, but he can only do it when he's on a camera. Which is why it's funny when other people on the crew try and cheer it up and try and make the documentary a little bit more funnier. And they do that, and it actually does weave into the plot, so it's not like a pointless episode. It is a funny episode, but it also does take its serious tone. And what I liked about this episode as well is that there was no music. The only music they had was when there was a part where they were spying on Allura and Lance when they were kissing, and then the music played. Seeing it recorded puts you in a different light of the show a little bit. But as the documentary goes on, they talk about how they captured 6 Alteans from the mech suits already. That's what they did after Honerva and Lotor and all that kind of stuff. They went ahead and tracked down all these different kinds of Alteans in these suits, and we managed to get a good bunch of them, but they're not talking or anything like that, which is unfortunate, because in episode 8, when one of them starts talking, Honerva tries and kills him, and we managed to rip out this dark entity, this thing where she can basically watch and control, and if they say anything that kind of reveals anything about her plot, she can just instantly zap them. But because they're not quite sure what to do with it, Allura's still kind of puzzled on it, so she stays behind while the other crew members, they go out shopping, they go out kind of having a little bit of fun. Shiro goes into an arm wrestle, which is kind of nice because we see another character callback. And during that, Allura sees the vision of Lotor, and he's basically trying to persuade her to take the Dark Entity, because if she takes the Dark Entity, she'll be able to actually see Honerva's mind, she'll be able to go through the void and everything like that. And Lotor basically has tried to sort of, you know, get her onto it, like, okay, we may hate each other or anything like that, but we still want to stop the witch, we still want to stop Haggard. And that's what gets her to take the Dark Entity, which is very consequential, obviously, because taking that is what drove Honerva and Zarkon mad to begin with. And this is where we go into episode 9, which is just absolutely fantastic. I did not see it coming whatsoever. Basically, they managed to go into Honerva's mind, just outside the void, and while Kiefer's the only one kind of trapped, because they all get pulled into this Mindsaw palace within Honerva, and they come across these figures within each respective lines except from Keith. And the dark figures they are fighting turn out to be the original paladins of Voltron, and seeing them with the original paladins was extremely satisfying. I love the original paladins, especially their designs, and I wanted to see so much more of them. And having them appear in the next few episodes as like spirits, and because they're in Honerva's mind, was just incredibly amazing, and it gets so much better later on. But seeing them with the originals and how they interact with each other, I just loved how Lance got the approval of Alura's father. Like, yes, I can tell you love my daughter. It's like, yeah, Lance did good. And one really dark things in episode 10 going into, because people are really curious about, wait, what's Lotor's state at the minute? Like, how's he looking, inside that suit? And we get a glimpse of what he looks like, and that guy is melted, it looks like, into the suit, and it was really graphic. They didn't show it, but you could just tell by the way how she was looking at him. Like, yeah, this dude is pretty much like burnt. Like, he's embedded into the suit, and it was really horrifying to kind of see that. It was like, oh my god, yeah, I don't want to see what that guy looks like. As they progress forward into Honerva's mind, there's one giant thing guarding it, and that is the mech suit from Zarkon in the season 2 finale. And after they stop with the Zarkon suit and we actually get to see Zarkon how he was before the Dark Entity, was just absolutely perfect. Seeing him interact, and I got really mad at Allura when she started to show him the visions of all the horrors that he caused when he was corrupted by the Dark Entity and everything like that. But seeing him interact with the other paladins and seeing him good, seeing Zarkon good, what he would have been if he didn't get possessed, was just a great moment. Like, just seeing the chemistry between him and the original paladins when he realizes all this stuff that he's done, and even though he sees that Honerva is going to win, and they managed to persuade him, or the original paladins, that if we work together, Zarkon, we can work as a team again. And when they form Voltron together, and the spirits and everything like that, it's just really good. And it's a really good redemption arc for Zarkon. This is his spirit free. And we actually get to find out what her plan is, Honerva's plan this entire time. And she basically just wants to go through all the kinds of different realities to find a perfect reality where her son Lotor and Zarkon are together. She wants to have a happy life. She's gone through so much torment with the Haggard and Dark Entity and everything like that. She just wants to go back to normal. She wants to have a family, and unfortunately the way how she can get that is by fabricating, like destroying previous realities, to try and find it. And that's not really good for the timeline, but she's really persistent on doing that, and that's what builds her character arc so much more and actually makes her develop as a character, because it's like, this isn't someone wanting power, this isn't Zarkon, this is someone wanting something everyone else wants, a family and everything like that. She wants her family back that she lost to that Dark Entity that she is using to try and find. And in episode 11 she gets really crazy because her other Alteans, and one particular one, her name was called Merlo, I want to say, she starts to see Honerva lose her mind a little bit. Like, yeah, she's going crazy because she has like this mech suit now, and she's like going all her way. She does not care. She goes full on control, heaving all this power and energy anywhere she can find. And what she does is she combines with Lotor with all that powerful energy, and she's just this giant beast of a machine. She's all powerful now. And with Honerva now going through the reality, little time is left, and Voltron really is pushing it now. They really need something quick. The Bomera come and they converge, and this is by far one of the most epic moments in a television show. Atlas and Voltron merge together and they become this giant Voltron. I know this is probably some sort of callback to the previous series. Just seeing that converge together with everyone together, Shiro, in one entity again, is just absolutely epic. Like, it gets badass. It takes a while for it to start being epic because it takes a few knocks even when it catches up with Honerva, but when it starts being in action, like, not only is it cool looking, like, it's an absolute badass. We thought Atlas was cool and gigantic, but that Voltron with the Atlas is just a whole nother level of epic. But Honerva succeeds anyway. She manages to get into that reality with Zarkon and Lotor before the Dark Entity and everything like that. She finds him. It's all turning out good. It's really sort of, even though the destruction, all she's done to get there it's just like, but you're still kind of happy for her. You're still kind of happy for Honerva because she gets to at least experience that moment. And, well, we all saw it coming, but when she eventually sees Lotor, young Lotor, he knows that it's not his mum, and he rejects her, and, well, she's pissed. She starts losing her mind again, and Zarkon sees it as well, and it just goes all bad, and it actually makes me kind of like painful. Like, it's really painful to watch because it's like, this is what she's wanted. She's wanted this family, and then bastard Lotor just rejects her. And he's just like, oh no, this has all been a waste of your time, hasn't it? And it's really unfortunate because she really wanted that. And it's like, no, sorry. And it just gets absolutely insane. We've got them fighting in that reality, them going out of that reality, and it turns out that she's just had enough and over altogether. She's destroying every reality. She's destroyed. They basically end up in the center of like the entire place. Like, they end up in the thing that creates space and time and everything like that with different realities. And she's just cutting all the branches because it's like sort of a tree a little bit. And she's just like cutting them all off, different realities. And of course, there's one reality left, and we really have to stop her because if that is cut off, everything's done. Everything's destroyed. Time as you know it, everything like that. As what the trailers have been showing, that if we don't stop her, it literally is the end of the universe. And well, unfortunately, this leads to the part of the episode where sacrifices come in. So they managed to stop Honerva from destroying that one reality, and we've got all of them together in like this really spaced area. There is a way to fix this. There's a way to fix this together. Allura is just talking to Honerva, trying to get her to come on to the other side, and she's just like, yeah, even all those words you're saying, I don't know, it must be surprising that do all the Voltron paladins like write out these speeches for occasions such as this, because they time everything right with each other on what to say next. It's like, okay, who's going to say something next? They really do know how to say the right words at the right time. I don't know if it's annoying or just really cool, but still, nonetheless, when Allura kind of gives herself up to try and fix the entire reality, with the help of Honerva, and then you've got like Zarkon and Lotor and all the original paladins in the back and everything like that. It's really emotional, and it really just kind of show you like, this is Allura making one of the biggest sacrifices, and it's for the greater good, to fix all the other realities that were destroyed by Honerva. But seeing the kind of goodbye and everything like that, it just got really emotional, and it was kind of unbelievable, really. And it got really sad. She was going through all of them, all the other paladins, and it was sad saying goodbye to them all, and it was all well and good, all the great speeches. But when it got to Lance, I was just like, oh god. This entire series has just been them working up to their relationship, and now when it comes to the edge of the world, edge of the universe, they have to split up because Allura has to sacrifice herself, and it's just kind of like, oh no. It was just really heartbreaking seeing them two say goodbye to each other when they've been working up to this relationship the entire time. One of the most unfortunate breakups, I think, in cartoon history. It's for a good cause, but it was just like, oh damn it. This is really, really sad for Lance. Really, really sad for Lance. I thought Lance would have gone out in some way, but now it's Allura making the sacrifice, and she's the only one who can. So it makes sense. It was unfortunate that the plot kind of had to be that way for her to kind of have that sacrifice, but it really does pay off because they're saying goodbye and the entire universe is saved and everything like that, and it cuts through like a year later. And it shows you them like at a dinner table, the paladins, and they celebrate Allura quite a lot. They have statues of her and everything like that, and it shows you like what the paladins are going to kind of be up to now. And they have like one last dinner table, and then they're all asleep, and then the lions kind of call to them at night, and then that's the end shot. The lions go up into the sky, and it's just kind of like one last charge of all of them together. At first I was really confused, like why the lions calling them. Is something going to happen at the end? Is the lower bag? So now it's just them kind of celebrating like them being together again, because they've been separated from each other for a long time. This is like the first time in over a year they've kind of come together. Now, one thing that is a callback to the original that we do see that I am aware of is that we see Pidge working on this robot called Chip. If I remember correctly, Chip is a character from Voltron Force, and I remember seeing Chip's face and seeing Chip be a part of it. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm not really sure where it's going to go, but I just liked how they kind of had that callback there. Yeah, no, as the lines go up and the credits kind of roll, it does a typical thing like most season finales like to do, is kind of do where are they at now, like what are they doing now. And I have a list here of where all the characters have kind of head off. So the Holt family are establishing the next generation of legendary defenders. So that's really interesting. Potential spin-off, perhaps. I saw in the background the MFE pilots around them. So those characters were kind of set up anyway to be the next legendary defenders. Like that, they didn't have so much to do in this season. They did still do a lot though, but they didn't have like a groups like kind of moment or anything like that. We didn't see a lot of Griffin or anything like that. But we saw a lot of Kincaid and Lifestoller and everything like that. Hunk, however, has created his own culinary empire, serving food across the world basically. So it was really satisfying for him. It was good seeing them do stuff differently after Voltron. Lance, he's just spreading Alora's message. You know, he's helping back with the family at the farm and everything like that. I was just seeing him really calm at the end. Seeing Lance, nothing distraught or anything. He's still spreading on the message of Alora, and she actually gives him the markings. Keith helped transition the Blade of Momora to a humanitarian relief organization, so he's basically just like helping the Gora Empire be better with the Blade of Momora and everything like that, and just really shifting things with the Gora's side to spread peace with all that. Well, the last one is talking about Shiro, and I hope all you Voltron fans who are very mad about what happened to Adam in the previous season are satisfied with this. Is that, well, Shiro is finally happy. He left the battle behind. He is married with this new guy. So hopefully you guys who were very upset about Adam in the previous season are very happy to know that he is happy eventually. He is no longer upset. He's no longer mourning. He has managed to move on. And thankfully for Shiro, he managed to do that. So good for him. Yeah. Oh my god, that's a lot of talking. This is the final season of Voltron Legendary Defender. Absolutely fantastic work, although there are a few things which I wished were developed a little bit more. Overall, it was a satisfying season. I mean, with any show, doing a season finale, especially one on the scale of this, it may not please everyone, but this, I think, is a pretty good, satisfying season. It really does end on a good note, and it does really make you believe that, oh my god, this is actually over now. Like, I can't believe it. Like, what's the next step for Voltron? What's the next series going to be like if they ever do another series or anything like that, another reboot or whatever? I don't think any Voltron show is going to be able to top this. I wanted to give it a shot, but I just feel like this show did so much right, and it really did change the Voltron franchise. I think it really brought it back, regardless of what happens to the future of Voltron. All the cast, the characters, the crew, the writers, everything like that just did a really good job. You can tell how much passion was put into this show, and I think it really paid off. I don't know, guys, let me know what you think to this season in the comments section below. Did you think everything paid off? What were your favourite moments from the season? Let me know in the comment section below. I will be doing future videos on Voltron. I'm going to be talking about specific things about the season and kind of celebrating the show as it is the end now. So yeah, stay tuned to that. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and click that notification bell to get all updates on Voltron instantly. Until the next video within Voltron, goodbye.